Hey guys, uh, welcome to Journal 2 for my personal therapy. Um, Now, I did go a little deep first time around um, as a more personal aspect. Um, so I thought today I'd try to go a little lighter. Um, at first I wanted to do two journals on this where it would be about fatherhood and motherhood, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to combine the two. Um, and I we're going to start with fathers. Being a first time father myself, and my relationship with not only my father but the various men that my mother's been with, and please keep in mind, my mom is not that type of person. It's she deserves happiness just like anybody else. It just happens that every time certain men that she tends to choose, somewhere down the line, it just goes south. Um, so, and once I talk about these, there's a couple of personal bits I want to talk about in this regard. So, for fathers, we're gonna start with "Mama's Boy." I I forget who sings it, but it's a country song, and Uh, the thing about the song is the way it hit me was it comes from the perspective of a father to his son, where the son has the whole song is about the son has the traits of the father. Wear the hat backwards, this, that, and the other. Drive mama crazy. But what's interesting in the chorus is how he describes certain actions that that comes from mama, and the way the father describes it is from the perspective is that he says the best parts of his son comes from his mother. um Already getting emotional, goddamn. I apologize, but in a way, I am a mama's boy. I'll admit that my mom raised me almost the majority of my life. Her and my father split uh, on circumstances. My father was a marine engineer or mechanic, one of the two. Uh, and I guess it just proved too much for my mom. Um, so there would be times I would get to spend time with my father, and more times I spent with my mother. Looking back, I feel that I gave my father a lot of injustice. That there were times I didn't want to go see him, and I think a lot of that was just because you know being with mom more. It had nothing to do with my father. Is I was a kid. Looking back, I regret it. Um, I do love my dad. I do, and that's why these next two songs are more from him to me. Uh, Another Dax song called "To Be a Man," and a lot of what this song is explaining to people. It is trying to explain to those who don't know, you know, women, feminists, whatever. I feel what this song was to portray is explaining to people what it's like to be a man. It's not. It's not to be misogynistic. It's not to be fascist or basically anything negative that's like anti-woman or anything. There is more to being a man than people realize, and I discussed a little bit of this in the first journal. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, check that out. You know, where women have it difficult in terms of physicality and being able to do just as much as any man in any job, men have to, for men, it's emotional and mentality. And that's what to be a man is. Because there are times where your worth is measured. People tend to measure your worth based on what you provide. And that's absolute bullshit. Your worth should not be based on what you can do. Your worth should be based on what you bring to the table. You bring bringing security, bringing love, bringing caring, etc., etc. Now, I mean, that can easily be flipped the script, and that's what women bring to the table, and women expect men to take care of them. But it's like, well, a man can do the same thing, but he has to work harder to help provide, because sometimes there are some women that they don't want to work. They want to be taken care of. Not they want to be taken. You get what I'm saying. So the song "To Be a Man" by Dax, and a part of the song in "The Lonely Dirt Road." The sad thing is that oftentimes people will never understand your worth. Certain people, certain people will never understand your worth until after you're 6 feet under, and it's depressing. That's where your worth as a man gets shown through the eyes of people after you're gone. And in this case, it's not like everyone mistreats you that way, but that's where it turns to. Lastly, the song, I don't know who officially sings it, but it was done. The song was played. Pardon me if you heard that. Sorry. It was played in the third Alvin and the Chipmunks live movie, and the song title is "You Are My Home" or "Home." This one hits a little harder because a lot of what the song, the movie, goes from Alvin and his brothers go on this wacky adventure with some woman's kid, and they think that this Mother and Dave are going to get together, and so they go to cross country to try and supposedly stop it, because the aspect of having step siblings is like beyond them, yada yada yada. But it's towards the end, the song, and it touches me in a way, because what's funny what's funny, and I'll say this now, my father's name is David, and the song they sing is towards their father, Dave. The entire song is showing their appreciation to their father. Something I feel like I haven't done a whole. I'm sorry. But something I don't feel I've done for my own father, and I regret a lot of that. I feel that during my time when I was living with him in my high school years, I don't think I showed enough appreciation for what he did. Uh, there was a situation with my mother, and that's going to come up here soon. I will explain that. My mother had to send me away to live with my father because of a situation. My father took me in, and he struggled with me for 4 years because this was the longest. 4 years is the longest time my father has ever spent with me, and it would be the first time I get to learn of my autism severity, where uh, I started off with autism as back in 87 to early 90s. And a couple of friends who probably will watch this already know I've already talked about this, but basically, I got diagnosed early and was possibly recorded as one of the youngest to be diagnosed. It went from ADD to ADHD to finally Asperger's. I refuse to call it AD because AD is not Asperger's is not an attention deficit thing. It's not. It's not about attention deficit. It's a social disorder. You know, the biggest thing about it is that you have a hard time conversing with people. I should fucking know because I couldn't associate people my age. Anyway, going off topic. So for 4 years of high school, I was with my father. At the time, my stepmother was a principal of a juvenile school. I, they, and before I, and my stepmom, I should say, but she is my mom regardless. In my family, we don't use step as reference. You are either mother, father, brother, sister, aunt, uncle, cousin, whatever. You are family. And even when it comes to friends, when you friends of family become family because they've been with us for so long. So I like to think a lot of my closest friends as family. In fact, I always refer to them as aunt or uncle or whatever to my daughter. Um, but for 4 years, my dad struggled to try to his best to understand me, and I wasn't the easiest kid. You know, he dealt with my teenage years. My mother did not get to deal with my teenage years, so it was difficult. But after high school, I then went back to live with my mother because conditions got better. Um, and here I am. So I'm hoping to send this to Dad, to my father, and as a special message to him, Dad, I'm so sorry. I really am. I never meant to be difficult, and I know I've told you this before, and I know you'll brush it off, telling me it's fine, but I'm sorry. I'm trying not to cry, but Dad, I appreciate everything you did. I appreciate everything you tried to do for me, what you tried to do for Sarah, just in general. I love you so much. So, just thank you. And I cannot wait to see how much you'll grow with Lily. You and Mom. Ah, Jesus. Ah. Well, you think I'm getting emotional now. Wait until I get into the motherhood. So, with that, let's get to it. I'm gonna hit you with the two on songs with motherhood with my mom, and these two songs are from Rascal Flatts. Uh, the first song we're gonna talk about is "Stand." If you've never listened to Rascal Flatts, these are like the they did "Bless the Broken Road." That's a really nice song, but they did a lot of good songs. But what stood out the most was these two songs because these were songs my mother to me. "Stand" was a song of, when you fall down, you get yourself up, you dust yourself off, and you keep going. When a door opens, when one door closes, another opens. And if you can't find a door, you find a window. You do the best you can. You don't give up, you don't quit. And that's all my mother wanted, was just for me to keep pushing, to do my utmost best. Oh, buddy. The next song was called "My Wish." And Rascal's Flat song "My Wish" was basically is what it is. It was, and this was a generic song of "My Wish." it it was a song that basically states that, I hope this life becomes all that you wanted to. Keep your dreams big, your worries small. That don't you don't bite off more than you can chew. My mom, my mom always wanted the best for me, for my sister, and she continues to help me. And I appreciate her every day. And sometimes, being almost 40, I still need her help because I don't get it yet and I don't feel like I'm ready. And it's going to kill me when her and my father go. Oh, God. This next song, this next song, it hurts a bit because it's tragic. Now, I know a lot of people are not Nickelback fans, but This one hits home in a way I never thought of, and it's from Nickelback's album Silver Side Up from the early '90s, late '90s actually, and it's called Never Again. In this song, the song is about a woman being abused. Throughout the song, the boyfriend or husband comes home drunk, and it's the same shit, different night. You know, she gets hurt, she gets bruises, broken bones, goes to the hospital, and lies that it was a fall. Until finally she's had enough and she grabbed a gun. And you can guess how that ends. When my mom left my father, she got with a man who was with me and my sister for a good chunk of our lives. This man was far from perfect. In fact, quite frankly, he was an asshole and abusive. Because when he got mad, you know, he got a little he would just get violent. Now, none of us ever went to the hospital because of it. But it still didn't make it right. And I got the worst of it. Many times. Some time ago, I was told that his justifications for what he did was to make me a productive member of society. There's a bunch of fucking ways to go about that. Seriously. Productive member. Really? Beating my ass over stupid shit makes me productive. Grabbing me by the neck, holding me up against the wall, arm's length where my feet aren't even touching the floor. That's being productive? I know I wasn't a great kid, but that doesn't fucking mean you traumatize my ass. Like, really? And for the love of God, I had just finished middle school, and this was the day that sent me away to my father. His name is Mike. We're just going to go there. Mike was trying to run a truck bed painting business. And he was willing to take me on. He wanted me to learn. It's like, okay, cool. He had this big bag of little mini connecting pull chains. The kind that you would click for ceiling fans, right? Not string, those little beaded pull chains. Okay, well, as a kid, this was like a bag of fucking 100 or more. I took like 5, and I was fucking around with them. He asked me if I took any. Initially, I lied. Yeah, okay. No, I just wanted to have fun with the pull chains, and then I was going to put them back when I went back there. What happens Well, sidebar. One of the things he did not like was me having a water bottle beside my bed. And it's like, well, first off, why? This saves me from having to get up and go to the damn kitchen if I have a goddamn water bottle near me. So it's like, what the hell's the problem? Whatever. He came into my room one night, upset. He looked at, he woke me up, looked at me, and said, and asked me if I took the pull chains. I told him no. He then said he counted the chains in the bag and gave me one more chance to be honest. Well, as a kid, I couldn't call him out for counting them. So I pulled the little pull chains that I took. I made like a little small ass ring with the 5. What's he fucking do? Yanks my ass out of bed. And again, middle school age. I was like between 10 and 12 at this point. The man proceeds to beat my ass. Like, literal beat my ass. With barehanded, hard. He then grabbed the water bottle I had and proceeded to pour it all on me while I was on the floor crying. Productive member. Yeah. Yeah, very, very fucking productive, Mike. You have no justification. And you know what was fucking terrible? Is that when he would try to do... The only reason I got it worse was because when he tried to do something like that to my sister basically threatened him with like CPS and all this happy horse shit. You know, something I didn't get told. But ever since she did that, he never bothered her ever again. So I was the one that got the shit end of the deal. So thanks. And my sister apologized for it, that was probably why. And it's like, well, if it's probably why, then it's more than likely the reason. I had no right to be treated that way. I don't care who the fuck you are. And you know, thinking back on it now, being pissed off as I am, now that I think about it, Sarah, you should have fucking taken the punishment the same way I did. Why would you intend? I get that you didn't like it, but if you knew the outcome was going to be I was going to get the shit end of the deal, why? Like, fucking why? Now that I have to think about it. And again, part of my therapy, but I have to question, like, what the hell was the logic behind you saving your fucking skin and letting me get the shit? And that ain't fair. You're supposed to be... You're my older sister. You're supposed to help protect me. But you did that. It's whatever. After that day, after that night, the morning came. I went to my mother. My mother was apparently upset with me, but I guess she had to keep face. Because with the song Never Again about the fights that happened between them, my mother told me that she wondered if I heard. If I would wake up at night hearing them yell and argue. And yeah, I did. I did hear them yell and argue. But I couldn't do anything. It is what it is. So, um, that morning, and also that's the biggest reason why the song "Never Again" was on there, is because I did always hear this crap, and yes, it was him being mad again, and it was time for another fight. It, Mom was always crying. Now, sometimes he'd hit her, sometimes he wouldn't. But he was still a fucking asshole. Did I get to do a lot of fun things with him? Sure, but kind of hard to remember a lot of it when you still have that imagery of what a person does to you. So, my mother looking at me upset because he lied, said that she has to send me away to live with dad. I found out later that she only did that to get me away from him so that way I wouldn't suffer anymore. After that, after my time in high school, my mother then left Mike, and she would go through a string of relationships. And some good, some bad. One of them, I almost got into a fight. I literally almost threw hands because it was for the first time someone ever clocked me across the face with a fist, and if my mother had not jumped in between us, I was probably gonna knock this guy over and work him. And the scary thought is that the scary, actually, it's not even a scary thought. The stupid thing that happened about that was just because I was giving this guy fucking attitude over questioning about doing a project. It's like he was getting pissed off because I was asking so many questions. It's like I flat out fucking told him, "Look, I just want to do a good job. I'm sorry if I am asking a lot of questions, but if I don't know what I'm doing, I can't do the job. Not sure what you want." He then stops me and says, "Hey, I'm sorry that I got upset with you because I call him out for that too. And I get that you want to do the job, but if you ever speak to me like that again, I'm going to kick your ass." And it's like, you could have just apologized. You didn't have to threaten. So I'm like, okay, fine. This is what we're going to do. So I look back at this man, and his name was Rick. I'm, again, just going to say it. I looked back at Rick and said, "Rick, I accept your apology, but in response to you kicking my ass, and I mean nothing by this, but I'd like to see you try." It's like, if you read the words that came out, what part of that gave you the invitation to come marching towards me? The second he did, he started grabbing me, stretching my shirt, all that. I somehow managed, and he was a big guy, like huge, not like Jabba the Hutt obese, but the man was like a husky, and he was about a good 2 feet taller than me at the time. Bear this in mind, I was 18 out of high school. I am currently about 6 foot. This man was about either almost a head taller or so than me. Well, I managed to bring him down to his knee to meet me at eye level. And by the time I did, he got one clear across my face. That was the first time in my life I've ever been punched across the face like that. After that, I went tunnel vision. I was gonna bolt straight out. Hell, I was gonna. I was probably going to more or less spear him. But before I could get there, my mother got between us. I started yelling at him, saying that he's no better than my ex stepdad. You know, he's an asshole. You know, doing all this shit. My mom trying her best not to fucking cry. After that, my mom then dumped him. And she would go through another couple of relationships. And it's like the handful of relationships my mother went through, what is a bit insane, but I get it. You know, you want someone to spend time with, but it's like the majority of the guys that she tried to spend time, she got with, all of them had issues, and she, in a phrase, tried to fix them. And it's like, why are you trying to fix stupid? So, eventually my mother chose to take care of herself first. And to think about herself and do herself first. Now, she is, as far as I know, in a relationship. And the guy is nice enough. But my view on who she dates is the same as how I view my sister's string of goddamn relationships. The one she's with now seems nice, my sister. But the one before him was nice, but turned into a creep. Frankly, I'm done. It's not that I don't want to see them both happy. I'm just done being emotionally invested. It's not the guy. It's neither of these guys' fault. You know, one I haven't met, the other one I have, but it's not their fault that I'm not emotionally invested. I'm just tired of being emotionally invested, and then it turns south, and it's like, well, that was a bunch of fucking wasted effort, and I can't get that back. So, yeah. I love my parents to death. I truly do. I love my stepmom. I love my father. I love my mother. I know it's not. I know it can't be easy. And hell, I'm a first time father myself, and even I'm finding days where this is getting difficult. But that's not going to stop me from being the best father I can be. Because I can only be me. I just got to make sure that this kid doesn't. The biggest thing to look at is that when you become a parent, most of your life until they hit school is making sure this kid doesn't kill itself. Feed it, nurture it, make sure, and just do your best is like the only thing you can do. But with the way this world is going, who knows? You know, it's getting crazy. So I got a long way to go to prepare my daughter for what comes. But I know that she will always have a support system between our friends, family, and hopefully her own friends. Well, that's pretty much it for this journal. Thank you guys for listening in. I'll try my best not to space these too much, but sometimes it's you have I have to think about what I want to talk about because trying to I can't a lot of it I can't always do on the fly. So, you know, I'll catch you guys in the next journal and everyone have a good day.